All right, so welcome everybody. So today we're doing on lesson 5.4, solving multiple step inequalities. Here's our essential questions, so if you guys could please make sure you put it on the top of your notes. If you don't have the notes, please go on to Canvas and download them or print them out, or get a copy in class. Still, as this moment, we're still printing out the notes for you guys. Here's the homework that's due. It's page 304, questions 1 through 11. Reminder. Complete your 4 topics of ALEKS for this week, and then also if you have any canned foods that you'd like to drop off to me, I would be more than happy to take them. We had talked about they're supposed to go to first hour, but some of you are hesitant to take them to first hour, and I don't want it to be about your teacher, but instead bring them here to me, and we'll share in the benefits of having an awesome class together. So first things first is bell work. Please do it. All right, on the bell work, ladies and gentlemen, it's a pretty simple setup. What you want to do is multiply by the reciprocal on both sides. If you do that, this is what your equation will get out. Put it in the calculator. You'll get p is greater than negative 28. This one here, ladies and gentlemen, divide by negative 9. When you divide or multiply by a negative, make sure you switch the sign over. A negative and negative is a positive. Pretty simple, straight up. We are going to have 5 lessons in chapter 5, so we're only going to do 5 bell works, and you're going to turn it in. Whoever turns it in will be considered extra credit. I'll tack it on to probably a test grade. Solving inequalities is what you've done in the past. Now we're going to do it multi-step using one or more operation. First things first on your notes is this little equation that you have set up right here. You need to solve it, okay? Simplest way to solve it would be to subtract 25 from both sides. I could give you the backstory behind it, but you guys can read that. You set it up here, it's going to be 0.08f, and then this is going to be 90. Then, ladies and gentlemen, divide by 0.808, and you would end up with f is greater than or equal to, I believe it's 125. Please verify that to make sure. But that's the simple setup. Not too difficult. What we're trying to figure out is how many receipts Adriana can have and file in our tax return to stay within her budget. She can go up to 1,125. So guided practice. You guys try to rewrite this equation. Remember, I need you to take words and put it into a written equation. All right, on this equation, as you read it, write it down. 400 flyers. We know that's going to be the X part because we're talking about that's what we're making. 400, the price includes a $3.50 setup fee. If your competition charges $35.50, so that's the other half, what does the print shop charge for each flyer? So we need to make sure which way would the sign go. If you want to beat your competition, ladies and gentlemen, this is the maximum number it can be, and you don't want to actually equal it, you'd want to go up to it, so that would be a good equation. Then you do the math. Okay, let me subtract $3.50 from both sides. All right, you do that setup, the 400x, this would be $32 even. Then you divide both sides by 400. If you put this into a calculator and get it out, ladies and gentlemen, you will get an equation. The setup would be, whoops, sometimes my board acts up. It would be x is greater than 0.08. So from a business standpoint, in order to beat the competition, you would need to charge less than 8 cents, 0.08, which is 8 cents. So if you charge 7 cents, or even if you did a cost analysis and you went out to 0.075 cents, so that way if you do it by 0.05 and you charge by 400, you will get an even realistic number. That's how it happens a lot of times in gas and other commodities that you guys may not be aware of. But you could technically go 0.075, multiply it by 400, and you would beat your competitor's price. All right, next, simple setups, graphing solutions on a number line. I'm going to go through these pretty quickly, okay? If you need to pause the video and back up to see what I did, please do. We're going to solve these. We've been doing this for a while now. All right, divide by negative 11. We're dividing by a negative, so we need to switch the sign. So it's going to be negative 6. So my product is -6. That's going to be a closed interval. If I plug in 0, so if I had 0 over here and -10, which one of them would be a true statement? On this one, ladies and gentlemen, -10 would be a true statement. So your graph is going that way. Next, you guys work on these inequalities. So you're just doing order of operations, okay? We are just going to move the 10 onto this side here. And this one over here, we're going to move the 11. Okay, so come back over here on this one. This is going to be 13 minus 2w. Then, of course, the next step would be to divide by -2. If you do that, if you divide by negative, make sure you switch the sign. So it's going to be w, switch the sign, and it's 13 over 2 negative. Now, this is negative. It's actually -6.5, and it is a closed interval because it is equal to, and is it greater than or less than? So if I went 0 and -20, we'll say, is 0 greater than this number? Yes, it is, so it's going to be going that way. On this one here, you set it up, this would be 232, and then it'd be -4y, divide by -4. That is actually a whole number. Let me change the color so I don't interfere. So it would be y. I need to switch the sign. Ooh, that's an ugly y. Y. Switch the sign, and it would be -8. Okay, if that's my setup, it's going to be an open interval at -8. And which way would it go? Well, it's going to be going this way because if I put 0 in here, 0 is greater than -8. So I got to head that way. All right, next, define a variable, write it, and then solve it based on a written word. All right, 4 times a number plus 12 is less than. So less than is, oh, I'm going to get this wrong. I know it. It's this way. Less than a number -3. Okay, so less than x. The less than x minus 3, number -3. Now you solve. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long day. If I get any of this wrong, just know I apologize right off the bat. Okay? -x, so it's 3x plus 12, and then that is going to be -3. All right, subtract 12 from both sides, and your equation is going to be -15. 3x divided by 3x. Now, we did not multiply or divide by a negative, so this sign never switches. We added or subtracted by a negative, but that doesn't matter, right? So here's your actual equation and solved out. What I want you guys to do is please work on this one real quick. All right, in this inequality, 2 more. It doesn't matter how you write it. 1/2 number of x. So this could be x over 2. Doesn't matter. It's greater than 27. So the next step would be to subtract 2 from both sides. 25. This is going to be 1/2 x. All right, and then, ladies and gentlemen, you'd want to make sure get rid of this 1/2. Multiply it by the number in the denominator, which is 2. And then you would end up with x is greater than 50. Next, distribution property. Please make sure you guys do this distribution fully. Now, this is going to take me a second to set up, so bear with me as we're going through. When you do the distribution, 6c plus 6, 3 times 2, and then it's 3 times c, which is minus 3c. Then you would set it up. Okay, make sure from here you combine like terms. So we can combine these. So it's 3c plus 6. All right, -2c plus 1. So nothing has changed up to this point. So now what you guys got to do is make sure you combine, you move the smallest variable. So we're going to move this, since it's a negative, that technically is the smallest variable. All right, oops, bad line. All right, you send it over, split it. So this is going to be c plus 6, and that's a 1. The next step would be to subtract 6 from both sides. And if you did that, you'd get c, well, that's 5c, sorry. 5c is greater than or equal to -5. And then last but certainly not least, divide by 5. And it is, there's your answer. Okay, on a graph, open dot, or it'd be a closed interval going that way towards 0 or 10 or whatever number you want to know that is greater than -1. All right, your turn, ladies and gentlemen. Try this one out. Okay, on this one real quick, make sure you guys have the math. I already have it up here. I wanted to go through, otherwise this would be like a 30-minute video. So distribute, okay, here to here, 30z, 18, 36. Next step would be to subtract 30 from both sides. If you do that, you'll get -18. That drops down. This is 0. That cancels out. 6z. Divide by 6. You get z, or -3 is less than or equal to z. This one, same way. Do the distribution. Okay, when you do the distribution, here and here, this is what you would get for the equation. Remember, negative and a negative is a positive. Subtract 2h from both sides. There's the answer. Set it up there. I did not do this open interval. And it looks like if I were to do 0 and 100, so say for example, 0 would be right here, 100 would be right here because this is 36. Which way am I going? I'm going that way. Okay, any number that is less than is correct. It would not be 100. So please make sure you guys know the difference. All right, empty set. This one's kind of interesting, guys. So what I want you guys to do is, I actually solved this one out. And what we're doing first is we're going to distribute. So on your first step, when you distribute this top line, this is empty set in real numbers. Do the distribution, okay, which would be 7k minus 28, so that's a negative. Negative here, it'd be -4, and then negative and negative, or negative, and that one would be -2. Now you need to combine like terms. 11 and -7 is 4k minus 28. 8 minus 4 is 4 minus 2. Then, ladies and gentlemen, you would want to solve from here. Then you subtract 4k from both sides. And when you do that, you're going to eliminate the k value of the variable. And then you have to ask yourself, is this a true or false statement? Which is -28 greater than or equal to -2? Well, obviously the answer is false. And so since it's false, there's no solution, which means no matter what number I put on each side, it's never going to be a true solution. So there is no solution for that one. Hence, letter B, multiply it out, distribute, 8r plus 6, 22, 8r minus 16. Combine these like terms to get 6. So it's 8r plus 6 equals 8r plus 6. You subtract 8r's, you're left with 6 is less than or equal to 6. Which means, ladies and gentlemen, at that point, no matter what value you put into r, it's going to always be true. So it's in true. So the answer to this would be true all real numbers. Remember, this only happens when you eliminate the variable. All right, if the variable disappears by subtracting it out, then that would be the answer. Last but certainly not least on the guided practice, please try these complicated ones. All right, on these, I know this lesson's pretty quick, but you guys should be able to go through and rewatch it a couple times if you need to. Do the distribution. When I distribute, you guys can see that. Combine like terms to get plus 6. This is exactly the same on both sides, so I don't need to subtract 6 or do anything else. If this is the same as this, it's true all real numbers. When I do the multiplication on this, the distribution is 8m minus 8m, so basically the m's cancel out. It'd be 46 is greater than or less than -20. Is that a true statement? No, that is false, so there is no solution related to that. So that is it for this lesson, 5.3. We will have a quiz that we need to take on Tuesday, October 30th. All right, the homework was at the beginning of the slide. Please make sure you do it. Work on your Alex. This will be the last, as it stands right now, the last version of homework done on paper, unless something changes, which it possibly could down the road, because I want to get you guys used to electronic stuff. If you have any questions, please come see me in class. Otherwise, it's been a pleasure as always. You guys have a great night.